think they'll consider, you submit a package, that's what you want, and they'll come back with yes or no.
Right.
So if we want to propose, I don't know if we can propose multiple options. It would probably be something we go down and talk to them first before we submit something.
Yeah.
Find out how they do it. This is something, I don't really have the answer, Mr.
Right.
Newell.
Mr. Prisco and then Mr.
Well,
Delaney.
I think Sergeant has something.
Maybe to answer some of Jeff's questions. Part of the
Could
thought-
you come up here, just so that the audience listening outside the building can hear?
Hey, Tom, they can see you too.
Part of the thought process when I proposed the one-way, and I haven't discussed it with the community group, but if we were to do the one-way on New Street, whether it was inbound or outbound, but we made it a one-way, that would be in the local level. So if that adversely impacted the Haverhill Street intersection at Park, or overloaded Chestnut and Haverhill, we could withdraw it at any time, because it's on a local level. So it's almost like our own in-house truck exclusion.
Right.
So, to answer your question, yeah, we could rescind it at any time, because it would be a decision of the board on the one-way.
Right, I can see that for the one within the town, but if we look at, if we change the route to be Park and Haverhill, what number is that? Is that alternate one?
But that would be,
And we-
that would be through the state.
Right.
And then I don't know the answer if it could be rescinded, and probably your process would have to take place. But if we were to try other things prior to that submission, it would be on a local level.
Right, I understand that.
That was the thought process.
And the thought was, by doing the New Street one-way, that effectively forces people to go alternate one.
Right.
So we get to try it out at a local level,
Perfect,
you
yeah.
know, without having to go through the effort I've described.
Excuse me, you really don't think that people are just gonna take, if the exclusion is, one way heading north on Haverhill Street, you can't take a left onto New, you don't think people are gonna take a left at Chestnut Street? You think they're gonna go another three
Well,
quarters of a mile up to?
For trucks, it's very difficult to make that corner, especially a tractor trailer. So, looking at the geometry there, they would probably keep on going straight and turn at Ryers, I would think. I don't think the town did it, I guess there was probably a lot of accidents, they offset it.
Right,
By offsetting
yeah,
all the
yeah.
islands, makes it very difficult for a tractor trailer to get around the corner. So, yeah, you can do it, they would run over the curb, and they would smash the shrubberies and all that stuff. But, they might. That comes down to monitoring and enforcement.
Just want to follow up on that.
Did you have something?
he has a follow-up.
Yeah, I just
I
wanted
can
to
wait.
follow up on
Okay.
it. You mentioned Ryers, and that's the area of concern that I have. That's a very difficult corner to turn with trucks as well. Okay, and I understand Bob's point. I think that if we selected that alternative, then they wouldn't want to do it, and then they'd just probably go down 28 or take a different route. So that's what was my concern. Is that
Sometimes you're trying to make it more difficult for them, so they will go somewhere else. But the thought is, with tractor trailers are allowed to be 53 feet now, the boxes in the back. So a truck coming either way are gonna swing into the other lane to come around. So obviously, there's a lot of truck traffic there now. I'm trying to make that corner as is, because we didn't study that aspect of it, but from what the school department did on Park Street by Dodge, there's quite a bit of trucks there, so they might be doing it now.
Dodge, or it
Not a
must be
problem.
Oakdale. It can't be Dodge. Dodge
Can't
is
be
up
Dodge,
Oakdale.
yeah.
Must be Oakdale.
Well,
said
they
Dodge in the
labeled,
report.
Well, the driveway is Dodge, right? Sorry.
They labeled,
when they did a traffic study for the school area, the engineer that did it labeled the entranceway to the school, the high school, as Dodge Extension.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the name they
Dodge
gave
Road
it.
Extension is what you call it.
Right.
Did
So
you tell
that's
Mr.
the
Sweeney
confusion.
that those are the corner?
He actually wasn't in attendance. I was surprised. So that's the Dodge they're talking about, that Dodge Extension.
but it was the study out front on 62. Michael?
Two things. Is the planning committee involved with you guys, helping you, assisting you, or part of the group?
We've already, I briefed the CPC 2 weeks ago,
2 weeks ago.
and they had concerns about, just we mentioned about making that corner at Ryers.
Okay.
And the pedestrian traffic between the students, the elderly, and the housing authority, a lot of foot traffic there, where I guess has been a problem as well. So, yeah, CPC is involved.
Okay. And the last thing is, can you guys give me just an idea of roughly the timeline you're thinking about where we can get to an informational hearing for the folks in that neighborhood? Because this has been going on quite a while now, and it would be
Right now.
nice. sorry?
Sounds like they've got all the data. It's up to us to schedule a meeting at this
Okay.
point.
We have the information now.
Oh, great.
We were struggling with, frankly, which route would fly. You know, would be approved by Mass Highway? That's what's kind of held us up, is we've had the data for a while. We've summarized it, but just what would work. And then we had, we met with all the different departments just to bounce it off of them, and again, every route has pros and cons.
So there's only
There's no good answer. You might sometimes move
Right.
more trucks somewhere else, but is that making it worse than it already is on Park Street?
So is it,
That's the subjectiveness.
so is it 5 alternatives, or is there more than 5?
Well, 5 in if you count the one-way street. Well, do nothing is one alternative, the 5 we proposed, and the one-way, so there's actually 7.
Chief?
One other alternative, which myself and Tom have been speaking about, it's certainly not an exclusion, but is putting raised sidewalks in on Chestnut Street and/or all the way down to Haverhill Street, which may voluntarily, the truck drivers may voluntarily exclude themselves, just another deterrent. Certainly, this has been going on for a long time. Like you said, Mr. Prisco, this is over 4 years. And I don't want to have to take a step back, but I think that it's important for us to maybe reconvene with the group on New Street. The truck exclusion may be an alternative, but I think that we're just gonna be displacing the problem to somewhere else. And I don't think that that's what the group wants either. I think maybe deterring a little bit more, putting some more obstructions in the place of, so that the truck drivers would voluntarily go down Franklin Street, because we're not gonna be able to send them down there. But certainly if we do a one-way or raise sidewalks, they're gonna voluntarily head down Franklin Street on their own. They're not gonna come down and make that turn onto Haverhill Street, from what we see, because it's gonna be too difficult for them to do. Tom's reached out in the past to some major trucking companies. Certainly, we'd like to identify the violators on last year, because we haven't had much contact with the group, and see if we can reach out again. Because if they see us putting these obstructions in place, maybe they would reconsider their routes. And another reason, which probably hasn't been public, a lot of the truck drivers use that route because they don't wanna be stopped by the state police on the highways. And they'll come down Haverhill Street because they know that we don't have the authority to really stop them and cite them. So that's another issue, which we can discuss later, but certainly I think that if we at least look at these other alternatives, I don't know what it's gonna take to put raised sidewalks in. I've seen it work in other communities. Certainly it would impede some regular vehicular traffic, but it's 25 miles an hour there anyways, so it's not that much to ask for. It's certainly the trend in other communities to slow down traffic, and especially near parks.
So what are you talking, like granite curbing?
No, it's actually,
No.
I don't know what the dimensions are, but as opposed to a speed bump, they were doing raised, and it's more for.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a speed table.
Yeah.
Speed table.
Essentially, it's a speed bump, but it's not.
It's
not
probably
authority.
the
It's like a
width,
5
two
foot.
widths, maybe 2 widths or 3 widths of this
Yes.
table, raised up about, would you say 8, 9 inches off the
Correct.
ground? With a gradually up and a gradual down.
So it's not something you can go over with any type of speed. It has to be, I know in Tewksbury they have it, like you said, in Reading, I've seen them in Reading and they've worked, they've slowed down traffic. Certainly has, different regulations than speed bumps do. I think it's a little easier to, and I don't know the regulations, but I thought at least I can let the community group know that we're willing to sit back down with them, because I really think that this is gonna just displace this problem somewhere else. We need to resolve the problem, not just move it to another area. And, I appreciate all the work that's been done by the DPW in the study, but the really only viable one is to send them down to Park and Haverhill, and I'm not sure that's the best solution.
Mr. Delaney?
Well, I like the additional proposal of the one-way, what you're suggesting, Chief, but either one of those, you're going to send this traffic elsewhere. That's the goal anyhow. These people have been dealing with this for some time. We've got the study done. We have 2 alternatives that I see that we can just submit to DOT. We don't have to get Ready involved. I'd like to see proposal 3, or alternative 3, or alternative 5 be advocated for. Sends it down, 3 sends it down 28 to 129, and the other alternative sends them out to 93. That's where they should be. They shouldn't be coming through neighborhoods.
Right.
The alternative to send them down Park Street to Haverhill Street, that's worse than
Yeah.
what they're facing right now.
I think
So,
that one of the
And
other.
I don't think that these single paths, I think we can travel on 2 paths. I think we can do the one-way, we can do what you're suggesting, but also go forward with DOT too. So I would advocate for alternative 3 or alternative 5, but also some of the ideas that have come out of your department too. The ultimate goal is to put the truck traffic somewhere else, sooner rather than later.
Mr. Chairman, my question is, if we go with like an alternative 3, send them down Concord Street or down to Reading, what prevents them from coming across 62 and down Havel Street? Anything?
I think they do it for convenience now, it's just a cut-through, so.
Right.
But if they're not gonna make the turn on to Havel, it's gonna be too difficult for them to
Right.
make that turn, so
And
I don't know how.
riots?
Yeah, I would, at some point, the truck drivers are gonna, it's just too difficult, and it's too congested. They do it for convenience to cut down New Street.
Right, oh yeah.
So I think by putting that obstacle and making it a little bit more difficult, they are gonna choose alternate routes. So we, like you said, we're not gonna be able to tell whether or not that's gonna impact the traffic on Rolling.
On 62 and
Yeah,
up
we
in
don't
front of
know
the schools. My guess is that it will, again, for the
Some.
smaller trucks,
Right.
they're gonna end up going 62, taking the turn. Now, the tractor trailers might be a little different story. The bigger vehicles, but I think what we're gonna do is we're going to end up putting the majority of the vehicles, so alternate 1, park on Havel Street. And then the larger ones may very well go down Concord Street or straight down 28.
Not unless we have the truck exclusion, right?
Yeah, but you can't put the exclusion on 62. That's what I'm saying, you can't put the exclusion, the only place you're gonna put the exclusion is on Chestnut Street, in front of Moynihan's, and then coming up towards, and then from, New Street and Chestnut and Havel Street. Preventing them from accessing that section of Chestnut Street. The rest of it's wide open still. So it's, maybe we'll be dispersing it a little bit more than, they're gonna go where they're gonna go. They're gonna, as you said, they're gonna seek out the easiest route for themselves anyway. Just going to prevent them from going to Chestnut and New Street, which again would also have a positive impact for those that cross Chestnut Street heading towards Linfield, West Peabody. We've heard from some of the residents there also. We were told in years past, the police department, that, this particular route wouldn't meet warrants. And I'm just happy to say, at least we finally have a study that proves that it does. And so now the ball's in our court to do something about it. And I'm in favor. I don't want to necessarily adversely impact Moynihan, but my guess is, they've been willing to cooperate anyway.
Well, and I think the neighborhood has already agreed
In our own
that they would.
DPW trucks.
they would-
Excuse me, the thing that I found interesting was Mike's study here, when you looked at those 2 days, was
So-
how much of an impact our DPW has had here, in this particular small section road. I know we're at that end of, far at Chestnut Street there, but, I don't know, we must be picking up materials coming from 128 and coming up to Haverhill Street, or?
Mostly just leaving the complex, going to work and coming back.
I know, but there isn't that much of the town south of New Street, that's what.
Steve, that was the total, that was the sum of.
Yeah, 17%. Yeah. Right.
So RMLD coming up from Reading and going
Right.
back, okay. But,
Yeah.
so it was interesting that, obviously we could mitigate it to a certain degree with some of our own internal controls and asking RMLD to assist us. But I found the statistic to be pretty interesting as far as the percentage, 17% of the traffic generated from our own trucks and RMLD. So anyway, I'm happy that we have the study done. I'm happy that it shows that we now have the ability to do something about it. Now it's time to do something about it. So,
In listening to what's been said, I'm wondering if, certainly to move this forward would schedule a public hearing, but perhaps even before then, maybe some outreach to the residents from police associated with, what their feelings are today. This study was done over a year ago. I don't know if some of the issues that the police have attempted with some of the bigger trucking firms that we know go up and down there